Quality aspects in preparing and sewing fabric for garments. In order to ensure good quality in making garments, it is essential to recognize what is done well and what is not, and then knowing how to improve it. It is said that practice makes a man perfect, and this definitely applies to the tailoring profession. So don't give up if something is not coming out the way you want it to, and try again with more patience and awareness, and eventually you will succeed. At the end of this session, you will be able to explain the importance of ensuring quality in every step of making a garment, list all the aspects of quality to be considered in the process of making a garment. It is essential to perform each step in making a garment with neatness and precision. Only then will the finished product be worth its work and worth its price. We will assess the quality at every stage of making each garment to make it an essential part in this tailoring course and to have you become great quality tailors. We need to look at the quality in two stages. One during the process of making garments, and second after the garment is finished and ready to be sold. First, let's see the aspects to be considered in the process of choosing, preparing, folding, drafting, cutting the fabric, and sewing the cut pieces. First and foremost, check if the right type of fabric has been chosen for the type of garment. Verify if the cloth is crumpled when starting. Also see if the fabric has been ironed properly before starting. Check if the grain of the fabric is corrected or is in an off grain. Check if the fabric has been folded correctly and the selvage edge and fold are parallel to another. See if the lines are straight when drafting, especially the long lines. Verify if the lines are drawn in a right angle to another when required. Check if the lines and marks join when drafting. Check if the curves are drawn in a smooth flow and start and end in a right angle when required. While cutting out the drafted pieces, make sure that the cut is on the drafted lines. There are chances that the cut may be next to the drafted line or slanted or in curves, which will affect the final product. When cutting folds, ensure that the cut is right at the folded edge. For this, you can press the fabric along the fold as shown. Then keep one hand close to the fold and with the other hand cut along the fold. Also keep moving the hand according to the movement of the shears. This will ensure that the fabric is held tightly. There are chances that for convenience you might lift the fold as shown and cut, which is a wrong practice. As you can see, the cut is not exactly on the fold. There are also chances that you may cut without holding the fabric tightly and without moving your hand while cutting, which is also another wrong method of cutting along folds. Verify if the right side and wrong side of fabric are not mixed up and sewn together as shown here. Verify if the right pieces are sewn together. In this case here, the front portion of the sleeve has been sewn to the back portion of the bodice. When the fabric has a direction, verify if the garment has been cut in the direction of the fabric. Ensure that you measure the right amount of seam allowance when sewing as planned. Make sure that you have even and parallel seam allowances. Also ensure that the cut edges align. Make sure that you have the machine set on the thread tension and right stitch length for the specific fabric. In this session, we have seen the aspects to be considered in the process of choosing, preparing, folding, drafting, cutting the fabric, and sewing the cut pieces. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key points. The aspects to be considered in the process of preparing and sewing fabric are choosing the right type of fabric based on the type of garment, ironing the fabric properly before starting. While cutting out the drafted pieces, make sure that the cut is on the drafted lines. When cutting folds, ensure that the cut is right at the folded edge. Measure the right amount of seam allowance when sewing and have even and parallel seam allowances. Make sure that you have the machine set on the thread tension and the right stitch length for the specific fabric. With that, we have come to the end of this session.